When you think about Milky Way Farms, most people in Giles County only think about racehorses or the cattle, the horned Hereford cattle. And that is just barely touching the tip of the iceberg about what went on out here. And I'm talking about as far as operations go, because there were 5 major operations on this farm. There was a feeding operation that fed out Hereford steers that were then shipped by rail, and Milky Way had its own rail spur right over here across the highway. And a lot of places did not have their own rail spur, but that's where they shipped their cattle from. And they fed out hundreds of cattle each year and shipped them to Chicago. They also had a grade A dairy, one of the few that used Holstein cattle in the state of Tennessee. And you know, I said that most people believe or think about Milky Way just for racehorses and just for horned Hereford cattle. But there were operations out here. There was the largest single broiler operation that was operating at one time in the state of Tennessee. And that's the reason that Albert Noe, when he looked at this place and said, I can use this, when it came up for sale, I can use this to use in my hotels, and I can come out there and I can raise everything that I want out there. But the Milky Way Farm, when people have an idea of it, they only think about the racehorses and the horned Hereford cattle. But remember that there were many, many other things. It was a home to hundreds of people. It gave a livelihood to hundreds of people. It was a way out for hundreds of people during the Depression. And it is remembered very, very vividly in the hearts and minds of the people that had family out here, that looked at it as the place where they could call home and they'd like to come back out here and be able to see it the way that it was. The trees as you came in, the gate that you come through down there with the overhead, when you came through Milky Way, there used to be a whole row of houses that went on the left-hand side of the road where people lived. There was a commissary where you got your food. When you had a job out here, you were truly lucky at that particular point in time. And it meant so much to the people of Giles County.